What's up, man?
Not too much.
I just said on Twitter, I'm live with the hatless ADP Lack Sports.
Yeah, no hat, no microphone for me today. I've been getting jammed on my equipment. I recorded a podcast yesterday. I got like 20 messages about how the audio was trash, and then I tried
the worst.
I tried to re-record it, and turns out I just need a new microphone setup. So apologies that that my audio won't be top notch for this show. Some improvements are on the way, but I'm excited to dive into some St. Jude's with you, man. It's been an insane run, a wild run we've had.
Yeah, man. First of all, how did you recover from the Graham McDowell news? Is you okay? Like just the and with the Kuchar thing too. So live people, this is fair and balanced,
right?
But just the hubris of these guys to believe that they need to make a statement that you're going to be missing Live Nashville, as if there's a double-digit people that care if he's playing,
right?
And then Kuchar, apologizing to everyone for.
Did Kuchar apologize? Did that happen?
Yeah, but I don't think he apologized on behalf of himself. He apologized on behalf of the situation. But just to think the fans would be like, well, they just need to see me finish this out today. No one gives a shit, dude. No one gives a shit.
It produced some great content. That back nine, as somebody that, had Rye, was cheering very, very heavily for Rye, thought Rye was dead many times over and over again, and then was also closely monitoring this Kuchar situation. It produced one of the most accidentally, authentically fun back nines that we had in PGA Tour golf for a while. And a lot of the weekends during August and July, I'm traveling or playing golf, and this was one that I got to sit in for, and that was one of the more fun 2-hour stretches I've had watching golf this entire year. And it wasn't just because I had Rye. I think as just an objective third-party bystander, the Kuchar stuff was such a great Twitter moment when that was happening, and Discord moment when that was happening, where I thought he was withdrawing from the tournament. And then the content that was created around that,
Zyre Golf put my tweet up there, and
Greiserman going 8-2, something I've done before, going 8-2 and then 4 putting for double, 3 putting from 3 feet. Listen, I think the PGA Tour is at its best when it's allowed to get weird, and
that was as weird as it gets, because when you have a 4-shot lead, and then we're literally watching the lines in real time, and I go, holy shit, Rye just went to almost even money.
Yeah.
Grazerman fucked up. I mean, he's done something really bad.
Were you watching? Were you buy a TV for that?
No, I was actually at a computer talking to you guys in the Discord and saying, I think I should do Aaron Rye with Joey Logano. Another fucking storyline, by the way. Everyone watches NASCAR, screwed out of that victory. But anyway. And then all of a sudden, out of thin air, Grazerman gets that quad. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's game on. And Rye wouldn't miss anything on approach. 6 feet, dart. So, yeah, I mean, it was not to mention the Kuchar stuff, too, who I guess felt that he needed to be relevant down the stretch. I mean,
yeah.
What do you make sense of that shit? What do you
listen, I mean, I understand the defense. The defense case would be it was from a financial standpoint, it was a very high leverage shot, right? And if you're playing golf in the dark, or if you're playing golf when it's getting dark, that can affect your depth perception and your sight lines. And I understand all of that. with that being said, I don't know how many players on the PGA Tour would do that. And I think I think a lot of people would just suck it up and have a little more self-awareness of being able to read the room. I've never played golf for $50,000, $100,000 before. So I can't speak to being in the position of, having one of those high leverage moments and you're trying to put yourself in the best position to make the best score to win the most money. Like, I get all of that, but I think it's hard to give Kuchar the benefit of the doubt based on who we've kind of understood this character to be over the years with, stiffing his caddies and all of those extracurriculars. So I think the criticism was all very fair. And I think that it created, like I said, phenomenal content.
Was Ryan the clock most of the day?
Yeah, felt like he's very deliberate. He's definitely not fast.
And Kuchar hit into him on 18, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how many times Kuchar's played that hole. You know what the deal is on 18. Your sight line off the tee. You're supposed to get word on that because you can't really see the guys in the fairway. I don't know how many times he's played that hole. That felt like a move of a bit of frustration.
Yes, like I'm going to teach this kid and blame him for my lack.
I'm going to take a stand against slow play. I've heard that theory has been.
That's the theory I'm going with, and I'm going to pout. I'm going to go home while my playing partners finish the hole out fine. Which
I think there's more. I'm very anti-slow play as well. I think there would have been more effective ways to convey that message and demonstrate your frustration than the outcome that Kuchar ultimately chose. Right. But again, I'm not complaining. I think that we've talked about this so many times on this show, Wiley, where it's like, what can we do to give these middling PGA Tour events that don't have any stars some juice and some life and some personality? And I don't quite know what the Wyndham's personality is. I'm not sure that I could tell you what that tournament's personality is. But
I think the CEO was there at the end shaking Kuchar's hand. Like there were,
but
maybe it was Jay Monahan. I don't know.
But the point is that variance, weirdness, cart paths next to out of bounds, which I'm not sure if that's the best architecture, but Greiserman hitting a ball that bounced off a cart path out of bounds, like that is the type of stuff that we should be attempting. Anarchy, Kyle, chaos, that is when the PGA Tour is at its best. And I think these are the weeks. These are what needs to happen if you're not going to have stars to function.
Right. I agree. I mean, I know there's a lot of people in our Discord that had Greiserman late. Someone said, let's get it at 9-1. I thought, oh, that's a pretty good line. This is saying he was -12 on round 3. I thought that's a pretty good line. And then he starts smashing. And I thought, fuck, we missed that. But
I think it was a great outcome for everyone. Like, I think a lot of people in our some people, a lot of people on our Discord had both, right? I didn't have both. I only had Rye. So it was a very solid, the optimal outcome for me, which felt good because I had a couple previous weeks where I came very close to the optimal outcome and then the worst thing happened. But we were all over it. Yeah, shout out Kyle. Kyle had both. A couple people had both. So, it's been a great little run. We've hit a bunt, a ton of out. This has been since joining RPS. I don't know what's in the water you got over here, but it's been my best golf season from an ROI standpoint, both betting and DFS by a significant margin.
It's called energy. It's aura, energy.
I don't know what it is.
That's what it is.
If it's
the aura. It's the aura we create.
Yeah. Or doing these Monday shows with you. So
that's right.
So yeah, so let's keep it absolutely going in Memphis. Sorry,
Here are my really big problems from last week. Scam Davis 1, and then Siwoo Kim 2, both playing this week, and Scam Davis having course form at FedEx St. Jude. And so we have to be careful of the flop lag here. Other disappointments. I mean, Sunjay Im. I mean, he was a withdraw candidate pre-Thursday or pre-Friday first round. Did not perform up to expectations.
I'm going to throw Siwoo in that bucket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cut. I mean, the outright got home for me. I did not have a profitable DFS week. I had like the best betting week in terms of positionals and matchups, but I played 60% Siwoo Kim and 60% Sungjae. So that really sunk me.
Bring your own energy to the Discord. Yes. This one too, because we said it, he was one back at Kuchar on round 3 late. And I said, he's going to go in reverse. You just know he cannot keep up. He just doesn't have the putting. He doesn't have the game. And Cam Young, again, breaking hearts.
Can we have the conversation that?
Yes. Myron, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
If you can't hunt down Matt Kuchar on a Saturday, yes. He's allergic to the lead, Kyle Hewitt. Yes.
I think we also had the I think I was talking about this. I talked about it on this show with you where I don't get any sense that like he loves golf. He looks so upset and angry out there so often. And that's probably because he's free falling down the leaderboard whenever he's on television in contention.
I think it's his design. I think he looks like this burly masher, axe wielding.
A really good comp.
And we're like, oh man, this guy is out there to hunt and kill. I just don't think that's his personality. I think his physical presence doesn't match his, emotional presence in IMO.
There are a lot of athletes. There are a lot of golfers. I played junior golf with quite a few of them that got thrust into the game at an early age by their parents, grew up on golf courses. Cam Young grew up on one of the finest golf courses in America, and they got really good as a junior, and they didn't really have a choice to get really good. It's just kind of how it happened because they were thrust into the game at such an early age. Never really loved it. Just became really good, and they didn't really have any other skills to roll with. So it just kind of became their life. I know a bunch of junior golfers like that actually hated playing golf. They just got really freaking good because they were forced to spend their summers hitting 500 balls a day in 90-degree heat at David Ledbetter Academy, which I spent some fun summers at, bordering upon child abuse myself. But and I gave up the game for many years because I was so burnt out on competing, and then fell in love with it again after not picking up a club for years. So, it's very possible that Cam Young, the son of the superintendent at Sleepy Hollow, just got really good at as a junior and kind of lost the option to go down any other career paths by the time he got to high school and college, and is just as miserable out there as he looks. But who knows? He's talented as hell, so I don't really.
But it's like a lot of good comedians. I mean, good comedians don't come from good bloodstock or great backgrounds. They come from a lot of pain, and that's what makes them good comedians. And a lot of these great athletes come from something that they're hungry. They're just naturally hungry.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the case. I don't know. I still love Cam Young, but I think Myron Kidd's right. I think the conversation needs to be had. He's in the Will Zalatoris category right now.
8,100.
No way. No way.
Potential. Yeah. Fair enough. I'm not going to fight you hard on that one.
So this week, we've got a lot of notes on FedEx St. Jude because this has been around for a while. This is a This is a tough course. I've not read your article yet because we were just dealing with some link issues.
Because I forgot to actually publish it.
Yeah, that's okay. I'd rather it be unpublished than free, like
which we've dealt with before as well.
I thought about that today. I'm like, fuck, we were just, we were this young ragtag group. It was my first few months at RPS. I was just getting a handle on things. I'm like, yeah, Andy's articles. People would DM me like, listen, man, I don't want to tell you this, but Andy's article is free.
It's free. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. But WGC Memphis is tough. It's a tough course. It's Memphis. And if you've ever been to Memphis in August, it's fucking hot.
Yeah.
2 par 5s, long par 4s, narrow fairways, tough rough, 11 holes have water. You've seen really good golfers win here. Mostly golfers that can keep the ball or are keeping the ball in play. Like Daniel Berger won once, maybe twice. DJ won. Glover won last year. Answer won. Good driver of the ball.
Zalatoris, Brooks.
Zalatoris. Yeah. In at times when they were fully in control of their ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a difficult course. Small greens. Justin Thomas, when he was peaking, he won here. So I don't think that you can come in here in not proper form and just say, okay, I can pull out a win.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with me, but that's my philosophy this week.
I entirely agree. If you look at the winners at this golf tournament through the years, Dustin Johnson, Daniel Berger, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, Abraham Answer, Will Zalatoris, Lucas Glover. I don't know if I did that in order, but that's a massive.
You almost did it.
If I got close to even naming the last 7 winners in order. But the point is, the one commonality that all of these guys have, including Lucas Glover and Abraham Answer, is that they're phenomenal middle iron players. Daniel Berger, when he was good, the best skill that he had was middle iron play, right? Abraham Answer, when he was on the PGA Tour, keep the ball in play off the tee, great middle iron player. Lucas Glover, I know he's not as elite of a player as, a Justin Thomas or Brooks Koepka or even a Will Zalatoris. Lucas Glover has been one of the premier iron players and one of the premier middle iron players on the PGA Tour for the last decade.
Yeah.
And he's coming out, and before he won FedEx St. Jude's, he just gained 7 strokes on approach to win the Wyndham. Okay. So this tournament is won by elite iron players, right? And actually, if you look through another commonality that a lot of these guys have, particularly
Lucas Glover had coming in, he's like 3 top 5.
Yeah. And he was the best iron player. He was right there as one of the best iron players in the world coming in.
Which some guys can be at a moment and just be like striping it so well, Aaron.
Right. And spoiler alert, but the 3 guys that I have bet this week are all guys that gained over 6 strokes on approach in your last start. So I think guys can come in here, catch lightning in a bottle with their irons and just black out on the greens or black out on approach. And I think the other piece of it too is if you look at the winners, the other thing that a lot of them have in common, particularly Justin Thomas, particularly Will Zalatoris, particularly Lucas Glover, none of these guys are good putters. None of the guys are historically skilled putters. No. And the data backs that up as well, that these are some of the easiest greens on the PGA Tour. They're flat. They roll true. They're fast, but there's not a lot of slope or nuance or contouring to them. And it's really a ball striker's paradise, right? Justin Thomas won this golf course losing strokes putting, right? So, the challenge of
Zalatoris does well at Augusta National on speed putting, but he's good in tight lies. Around the green. Daniel Berger, elite, elite, and a dog. Same with Brooks Koepka, right?
So I really think, like, if you're just breaking this down to a completely elementary level and you're going to say, what are the 2 things I'm looking for? Really mainly 1.5 to build my player pool around this week. Who are the best iron players right now? right? And you can find who are the best iron players in the 6K range, the best 7K range, particularly the best middle iron players, right? You want to be looking at that 125 to 175 yard range. And Crew, you're right. I mean, like, Scotty's a tough price this week, but
fade him at your peril.
Well, the place, this golf course, and it's interesting that he hasn't played well here. Although I think that's a little misleading because I think he's a different player.
He's a much different player now.
This golf course has checks a lot of boxes of things that play into Scotty's hands. You want to play Scotty Scheffler on water heavy golf courses with clearly defined hazards. Scotty does really well on golf courses that significantly dictate to you where to hit it, right? He does really well at TPC Sawgrass. He does really well at Millfield Village. He does really well at Le Golf National, right? He is really good on high missed fairway penalty golf courses because it accentuates his skill of elite total driving and accuracy over distance. And these greens are really easy. It's a golf tournament that you can win losing strokes putting. So yeah, Scotty will be hard to. I don't know if I totally agree with that, Ghost Jam, that the pricing is super soft. When you
if you fall in love with a couple of 6K guys, and I know exactly where Ghost Jams is going with this because of course history, Taylor Moore, you can do it fairly safely because there is some 7K love. And really, I mean, if you're a Scheffler guy, you're probably going to skip over McIlroy. You're probably going to skip over Aubert, and you may skip over Schauffele this week and get right to a couple of guys in the 9s, and then the rest in 7, 6Ks. I don't think it's super soft, but they did leave a couple of guys down there that feel comfortable enough in your philosophy who've had success here, top 10 last year, like a Taylor Moore, that make it work.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm actually just really looking. I haven't taken like a full look at the bottom of the 6K range. And I agree. There's some guys that, listen, we've had tournaments. Scotty Scheffler's 12.4 and the pricing goes down to 6K flat. We've had tournaments where the highest priced guy is in the mid 11s and the pricing goes down to the 5s.
Right.
So,
right.
It's,
I thought he would be 12.8, honestly.
Yeah. First, I will say this. The best case that you can make against Scheffler, I think even the course history stuff is flimsy at best. On paper, all of my numbers suggest that this has all the hallmarks of a golf course that plays right into Scotty Scheffler's hands.
Correct.
The best case against Scheffler is, you're hoping for, it's crazy. He could probably win this golf tournament losing a stroke and a half putting. You're hoping for kind of what happened last time he was on Champion Bermuda at Pinehurst, and you just get a disastrous Scheffler performance on the greens, right? The last time he was on pure Bermuda, he really struggled on the greens at Pinehurst. Now, these greens are in a completely different stratosphere in terms of how much easier they are than Pinehurst. But it's the same surface. So, Scheffler, I think Scheffler probably has to lose 4 or 5 strokes putting to not finish in the top 12 this week, would be my guess. I mean, the Olympics was his best ball striking performance of the season. Put that into context of like, Scheffler has done everything that he's done.
And he was down on Thursday. He was out of the picture.
And he at the Olympics, after all the amazing ball striking that he's had this season, his best was the Olympics. Better than Augusta, better than Muirfield Village. Like, he's still trending upwards. Yeah. He's gained over 10 strokes on approach. And so, that's a whole, it's a difficult debate this week. What
and the same comparison with Cam Young and his physical presence and what we expect from him in terms of intensity. The same thing is with Scheffler. It's the inverse, right? We expect him to be this, doting, denim-wearing dad and not to perform well and give it his all because, he just doesn't look that way. But he's the most competitive guy in the field, right?
Mhm.
He wants to make sure these guys know that he's the best at all. Look at when he played Harbor Town after the Augusta?
Yeah.
And what? He won, right?
Yeah. He played Harbor Town after the Masters and won. He played Le Golf National after the Open and won. He played the Travelers after the US Open and won.
This is when he had a kid. He just had the baby. He went to Harbor Town. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Either a withdraw or he's no.
Yeah. 3 of the 4 majors this year, he won his following start after a major championship. So there's no let up with the guy, no emotional What do you think the ownership is?
I think it's going to be very, very healthy.
I think, he's still high price. Like I'm going to say he hovers around 30.
Yes. I would say he was in the M range from last week, 30, 32, 34.
Yeah. I want Ghost Jam and Kyle's take though, if they're still in the Discord.
35. Ghost Jam says 35.
I could see it. Yep. I could see it, but then
25
counter, but my counter is, and then what's the downstream effect on Xander's ownership, right? Because you're not playing Scotty and Xander together.
No.
So then what's Xander's ownership? Because do we really think that
everyone's going to start with a stud?
You think so? Because I could see people make some really good balanced lineups starting with Morikawa.
Kind of in the stud range. He's still 5 figures.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. If you consider Morikawa a stud, then I agree.
So I would say out of the Aubert, McIlroy, Scheffler, Schauffele, Morikawa stud range, Scheffler 1, Xander.
I gotta say, I think
Morikawa will be popular.
Yeah, I think Rory's a good. I think it's a good buy spot for Rory. I think Rory's a squeeze candidate here.
Okay, and then so Aubert gets pinched in terms of.
Well, I think Rory and Aubert both might get pinched. I think that. I think Scheffler and Xander will be popular. What's the case against Xander at this point? Only that you can't play him in the same lineup as Scheffler?
Only that he only wins majors?
Yeah, okay. So he didn't have his best Sunday. He didn't have his best Sunday at Le Golf National. Xander, I ran my numbers. Xander's finishing in the top 10 of this tournament like 80% of the time, okay? He's not as accurate as a driver as Scheffler, but he's a way better putter. So Xander's floor, I understand the price difference between him and Scheffler, but there's no bad argument against Xander. And then Colin, I think will be pretty popular too. So I think Rory and Aubert, there'll be some opportunity on both those guys.
Yeah. So if anyone could only start with one player 10K and above, it'd probably be Scheffler 30 to 35, Schauffele 20 to 25, Rory 12 to 15, Aubert probably the same, and then Morikawa close to 20.
Yeah, I don't have any major disagreements there. That's what
I would predict.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. It's a 70-man field, so there's still, even when we say Rory squeeze, Rory being 14% this week, that's really low in the context of his pricing and the people around him. I don't know if there'll be too many guys in the single digits priced high. Although once we get into that's a good question too. We'll transition to the nines. What do you make of this nines? Because I'm the biggest Russell Henley Corey Connors fan you'll ever meet. I've been riding these guys forever.
Yep.
But I was shocked to see a 9K tag next to those names.
I'll say for Connors, course history, keeps his ball in play, playing phenomenally well, right? Henley 9K does not feel like a 9K golfer.
No.
Yet.
No.
I thought that, and I haven't looked at your list, I'm not going to talk about it, but I thought that Cantlay would be a big play for you this week.
He is. I bet him too. Cantlay is a big play for me this week.
Yeah, which you can start with a stud and go Cantlay and then mix it up with 6Ks and 7s. Again, the 8K range is going to be tapped out. But I would say that Hovland, again, 9,500, they will not quit with this guy. They won't quit. They won't give him the Will Z treatment anymore. I mean, what's Will Z? 7K, 6K?
Hovland needs to be.
Is Will Z in this field? Yeah, he is. He's 7K.
Yeah.
Why is Hovland still 9,500?
Yeah, there are a couple like that. Can I tell you too? I had I do my own pricing before, and I thought that after the miscut again at the Wyndham, I thought they were going to put Spieth in the low 7s, and they didn't even do that in this field. I can't give you. I think Spieth at 7.7 is overpriced.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about his wrist. That he's never had so much pain in his life. He needs surgery. He did okay. He had a short run on last week, but he's still not worth it. I mean, you could, and in the 8K range, you could make a case to fade every player in this, at this price point. Except for Rye.
Tom Kim.
You still riding Tom Kim?
I love Tom Kim this week. I do. I would attempt
over Rusty Henley.
Not necessarily.
Yes, Kyle. Kyle just gave out the nuts.
Yeah, I like that too.
Oh my God, he's so cheap. That's what makes it work.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead with Tom Kim.
Henley I said this on the podcast, the podcast I did with extreme audio issues, so it may have been illegible, but Russell Henley rates out. I mean, Russell Henley is like, if Russell Henley won this tournament, it would be the biggest win for data ever, because like anybody that does advanced analytics, whether it's me or Data Golf, think that like by the numbers,
who's the second company?
Data Golf. Haven't heard of them.
Nope.
That Russell Henley is like prime Tiger Woods, right? And obviously anyone with a brain and a set of eyeballs know that Russell Henley is not prime Tiger Woods, but he has an uncanny ability, particularly on this golf course, that emphasizes his skill set so perfectly.
He's Daniel Berger to me, and he's playing the best of his career. Mind you, what, 2 wins in 14 years or something like that?
Yeah.
Russ doesn't win.
No, but not only does he not
believe he wins.
Not only does he not win, he loses often in dramatic fashion.
Yes, late.
I'm thinking about some Wyndhams and Sony Opens where I've
7-4. I don't care if he doesn't win, but 9K, I'm like, man.
No, he was the nuts for us at the Open Championship at 6,900. I just don't know what to do. I literally have him 4th in my numbers this week after Scheffler, Xander, and Rory. So my pricing on Henley was 8-4. I still bet him 55-1. He's down to 35 in some spots. He's not going to win, but I can't hop off after how much I've ridden for the guy over the past couple of weeks. But I love Tom Kim at 8.9.
That surprises me a lot.
Yeah.
Finau, no. Im, no. DeGala, nah. Creative.
Yeah.
No.
I have no. I'm fine with all the guys you just mentioned. What about Sam Burns?
Bermuda, Sam Burns playing well.
Yeah.
Did well at the Open except for Sunday. Was in contention. Went to the 3 Open, top 10 almost.
Yeah.
I'd say Burns and Rye are definitely in play for me.
Yep, lost in a playoff here last year.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what do you?
Cam Young and Lowry are a no.
You're no on Lowry.
Yeah.
I like the golf course for Lowry.
What's that?
I like the golf course for Lowry. I'm not like a. I'm not going to campaign hard for him.
It's too hard.
But okay, that's fair.
The Discord will know what I'm talking about.
The Discord will absolutely. He's definitely a very high pass candidate in this heat. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Gross. Someone mentioned the Lucas Glover swamp ass last year. Is sterling.
Well,
yes.
I mean, don't get me started on I've been catching strays from like the Southeast because I said that we don't need to have 9 professional golf tournaments every year in the Southeastern United States.
And they talked about the homeless problem in Chicago.
That was like fun. Like I love when people make like just golf tweets political right now in this climate. Right. Like most of the tweets, like 2 out of 100 replies to the tweets were like, you think we're going to go to New York and Chicago? You freaking lib. Those liberals.
You lived hard.
With homeless people and all these illegals. I'm like, have you been to Memphis? Like,
my God.
Have you been to Atlanta? Like,
yeah, I live in the South. I would rather be homeless than play golf in Memphis in August. And no, I posted, and this is me against Tennessee, right? I can say this because I'm in Kentucky because we ate Tennessee. But I posted pictures of Memphis, like just the gritty ass river that they have beside the course. And I'm like, look how beautiful this is. And all the Memphis people are like, yeah, it's so beautiful. I'm like,
well,
fuck Memphis. Tennessee, it's Kentucky all the way. Valhalla all the time.
The point is that
right? Valhalla?
Yes. The point is that I mean, it's not a political thing why they go to certain cities or don't go to certain cities, and where a city falls on the political spectrum is going to have, I promise you, is going to have no impact on the golf tournament. I think I went to school in the South. I went to school. I love Durham, North Carolina. I think is a great, and Chapel Hill.
You hate Kentucky.
Are both great. I don't hate Kentucky.
You hate it.
I love Kentucky. I hate Valhalla, and it's not representative of Louisville. You guys don't, or Lexington. You guys shouldn't claim that golf course because you're more than that.
Yes, we're way more than Memphis. No, Nashville, amazing city.
Nashville's phenomenal. The point is that the reason why they go to Memphis is obviously because, and I understand this, is because FedEx is located in Memphis, right?
Yes.
And FedEx is putting up a bunch of dollars for this golf tournament to be played in Memphis. Okay, so I understand all of that, and I'm sure that FedEx has a wonderful long-term, probably very stagnant, very safe partnership with the PGA Tour. Right. My point is, if you're bringing on a $3 billion investment from the Strategic Sports Group and some of the most powerful power brokers in America, at what point do you start to think outside the box, right? And my hope with some of this stuff is, I understand it's all about money, right? And so, if you're going to leave Memphis and leave FedEx high and dry, then you obviously need to find a company that's going to put up equitable dollars to host.
There aren't any
in Boston and New York and Philly. And the hope is strategic, because somebody mentioned to me, is like, Liv goes to Chicago, Liv goes to New York, Liv goes, and it's like, yeah, because Liv doesn't have any sponsors. So Liv can play on Mars if they want. Like they don't have any sponsoral responsibilities. I'm sure
infinite fake money.
Yeah, I'm sure the PGA Tour would love to play more golf tournaments in New York, but they need to find somebody that would pay the money, the amount that FedEx is paying to keep it in Memphis. So I understand.
Does it surprise you too that the Live Tour suddenly has a drug policy and VIX is the worst offense they've had?
Yeah.
Let's do the math on the players in that tour real quick.
No, and that's a whole other thing. But
Oh my
anyway,
God. Anyway, here we go. Where's Comcast based? Comcast Tour Top 10. They just gave out $1 billion to these players.
Where is Comcast based?
Philly. Play at Marion. They don't get anything. Right? Is Marion the best course in Philly?
Marion's definitely the best course in Philly.
Bang.
Which I would love to have a more regular event at Marion.
It'd be funny if Comcast was based in Louisville and you'd have to play Valhalla again.
No, I think Valhalla would be fine for a PGA Tour event. Just no more majors there. Fenway Sports Group is a part. Yeah, So there's Boston. All these guys. Steve Cohen is New York ties, Strategic Sportsbook Group. John Henry, bring an event to the Northeast. Semi-regularly, not enough. Not really. They're in Denver this year, but that was what I would say is that I think the FedEx Cup playoffs should be rotate around the Northeast for one of them, rotate around the Midwest for one of them. And then you should be going back to California for the Tour Championship. Okay.
FedEx, the hospital angle of St. Jude, the charitable angle is incredible. By the
Valid.
way. So all jokes aside and busting on Memphis, it's part of the bit. That is incredible. And FedEx throws so much fucking money at this tour.
Yeah.
It's whatever they want. Bend over and take it.
Yeah. We understand that.
If it was the UPS Tour Championship, then you'd have to play Valhalla because they are in Louisville.
There you go. Yeah, I understand the money, all of that. I'm speaking purely as a fan.
Sure.
Sure. So anyway, okay. So
7K
what else?
range.
Yeah,
7K range.
All right. Talk to me. This
is where the money's gonna be made. Fitzpatrick has some course history here, and just in my mind, I feel like he's gonna pop. But Straka, right? I think it's a very fair price and a guy that keeps the ball in play. Now, did he have a disappointing? When was it that we didn't like? Olympics, not his best. But Straka, Bez with his immaculate made cut. I think those two are guys that I probably will target a lot in the 7K range. Fitzpatrick, I'll have to look at because of course history. He's got that dog in him a little bit. And yeah, that's probably where I'm going.
Okay.
I want to say Siwoo Kim, but no.
Okay, I'm with you on Straka big time. I do think he'll be pretty popular. But
look at Davis Thompson too.
Yeah. I worry a little bit about his driving accuracy on this golf course, but Wyndham Clark was unbelievable over the weekend at the Olympics. And I do think that you might be able to buy a little bit early on him getting back to being far more of an 8K golfer than a 7K golfer. And I do think there is decent flop lag opportunity on both Harmon and Siwoo, because this golf course, in terms of what it emphasizes and the agronomy, is not entirely different from Sedgefield. There's more water hazards here, and the greens are a little bit easier. But in terms of driving accuracy, middle iron play, southeastern Bermuda, like all of the reasons why Siwoo Kim and Brian Harmon were high priced and high owned last week, if you liked them on that golf course, you should like them on this golf course. As much as they murdered me last week.
Yeah. If you just play, is it a good golfer and do they feel inexpensive? Wyndham Clark is one of those people.
Yeah.
Harmon is one of those people. Burns, to an extent, is one of those people. And then the inverse. Hovland is overpriced. Fleetwood seems overpriced. He'll still burn us. Henley does as well. So I am in agreement with you. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why the PGA Tour doesn't go to China. That's a
Myron, they're too busy growing the game. Don't you understand that? That's
so
what Jay Monahan does on a day-to-day basis. Look at Kuchar yesterday. Kuchar was so interested in growing the game, he stayed for another day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's what he wanted to do.
Me tweeting that the PGA Tour should go to New York and Chicago became way more controversial than I ever expected. I'm sure me tweeting about the PGA Tour going to China is going to go great on Twitter these days.
You got libbed up, baby. You got libbed up.
So
you're targeted.
So yeah, I mean, I like Siwoo and Harmon as flop flags. I like Keegan a little bit. Keegan was a core play last week and finished 20th for us at low ownership. That was a good spot for him. I think he's playing some good golf right now. And then in the 6K range,
who in the 6K range do we trust that is in control of their ball right now and playing well? Taylor Moore stood out to me.
What about Ben Griffin and Eric Cole? Two guys who were great last week.
Yep.
Southeastern Bermuda guys. I mean, Eric Cole shot up. Eric Cole made 7 birdies on Sunday.
He scores a lot. And
best round on the golf course.
Par 4 scoring last week. Par 4 scoring this week.
Yeah, Cole was freaking awesome last week.
Yep.
And so was Ben Griffin. Both those guys were big plays for me. Top 20 guys that, I think Eric Cole and Ben Griffin, they will probably be popular because they're the most obvious.
Oh.
But I think those are great options. And then if we are just talking who's the best iron player in the 6K range, can you give me that name?
Probably Chris Kirk.
I like Chris Kirk, but it's not Chris Kirk. I'm going Tom Hoagie. That's just the best pure iron player. If you just want to isolate iron play on this golf course, I think Tom Hoagie can compete. Yeah, you're right, Ghost Jammed.
Yeah, Hoagie is English withdrew last week. Hoagie, Cole, Kirk, Moore are all valid plays. 4-day no cut. You could even go back to, is it no cut? Absolutely no cut. Is that confirmed?
No cut. Top 50 advance the next week. God, Jake Poston's in the field.
You could do a grab of most of these. Correct, Kyle. Todd.
JT Poston and Andrew Putnam last week missed the cut.
Oh my God.
In the most gutless, some of the most gutless playing down the stretch from Poston.
He hasn't been the same on courses that he should dominate at. He hasn't been the same.
I know. I'm so glad Putnam's season's over. He doesn't deserve to play anymore this year. Power was good for me last week. Power. Yeah.
Mac Hughes is playing well. Power's playing well.
Yeah,
playing okay.
Power played well for us last week. I was pleased with that.
There's a ton. I agree. There's a ton of viable plays in the 6s. So, listen, I think if you want to be super bold, you just build with Scheffler and go from there.
So, just last question on Scheffler.
Yeah.
If Scheffler's your first man in.
Yeah.
How high would you go as your second man in? Would you ever play Scheffler and Morikawa in the same lineup? That leaves you 6.9 for 4 remaining spots.
You could. Yeah. I went Scheffler, Cantlay, Scheffler, Morikawa, and Scheffler Connors as a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. You really can't get much more than that.
Yeah.
But you got to dig deep in some of these 6K guys like a Moore or a Kirk or a Power to make it work. But that's why everyone's going to be muddling. What is it now, Ghost Jam? Muddling with mid-range Sepp Straka 7-4. He's just kind of one of the safest mid 7K guys there is. And muddling for sure. Yeah. I think I think you could. No, could you do a Xander Scheffler? That'd be tough.
That's tough.
That's tough. So that's why I feel people are going to start with Scheffler or going to start with Schauffele, and that'll be it. And not many together, but still possible.
Yeah. Who's your winner?
I just don't think this small of a field anyone could beat Scheffler. I mean, I just don't think you can do it at this point.
Yeah, I think Scheffler, like in a 70-man field. What is Scheffler's odds? Is he plus 330?
12-4, I'd say probably plus 400, plus 350.
My numbers, my true odds for Scheffler in a 70-man field on this golf
plus 350, exactly right,
is plus 308. So I'm not even going to tell you that plus 350 is a bad bet on it. I'm not betting it, but I mean, it's just he's got 7 wins in 17 starts this season.
Yep.
And he's hovering around. It's like 60-40. He wins, he loses.
At a course what you defined accurately.
Perfect for him.
Perfect. You want a guy who keeps the ball in play because there's a lot of outs here. There's a lot of water.
Yeah.
You can get yourself in trouble. And the guys who won when they won were in good control of their ball and playing the best golf they were playing. Yeah. The other guy that I think I didn't ask you if it's not a Scheffler pick and it's kind of cute, it's Sam Burns.
I like that. I'm going to say that Morikawa is going to get a win this year. And I think that this is his last real chance because Castle Pines is going to be distance over accuracy and Rory and Wyndham and Finau. And then Eastlake is probably just going to be a Scheffler Xander duel.
Right.
So I think Morikawa, if not now, when this is it for all the reasons we loved him at Le Golf National, same type of golf course, right? Water hazards, easy greens, middle iron play. Morikawa hasn't finished outside the top 25 in a golf tournament since before the Masters. He's been really damn close, and he's coming off his best iron week of the season at the Olympics. So the irons are getting back to elite levels. So non-Scheffler division, I'm going with Morikawa this week.
Okay. I like it. That's all I got.
All right, buddy. Me too. Let's have
President's Cup predictions as of today.
Like who's going to be on the team?
Yeah.
I'd have to pull up the list, but would you say Spieth makes the team?
No.
Well, I think, would you say he makes it or should be on it? Might be two different questions because I don't think he should be on it, but I don't know if they throw him a bone, the good old boys club. I don't think he should be on the team, but I think that they could make a lot of bad picks and still murder the internationals because the internationals doesn't even get any of the live guys. So they don't even get Cam Smith or Neiman.
Nope. They get Matsuyama. They get Tom Kim.
And Corey Connors. Jason Day, Adam Scott.
Bunch of other gutless Canadians.
Nick Taylor. Who would you rather have? Who do you think is just
Hadwin or Taylor?
Who do you think in a vacuum is better at golf, Hadwin or Taylor?
It's a great question. I think Nick Taylor is a dog.
Yeah.
I think Hadwin's probably a better iron player.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nick Taylor's a better putter.
Mm-hmm.
If it was like 1v1, I'd take Nick Taylor all day.
I think so too. I think I'd rather go to
He's
battle.
scrappy.
I think I'd rather go to battle with Nick Taylor. So
does Davis Thompson make the Pres Cup? I don't know. We need to prep for that. I don't want to make it up.
Yeah, we could do that at some point.
Decky Love, nah.
I don't think so this week. Just can't play them all situation.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Later, buddy.